Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing over there?
I am great. How are you?
You know, I'm actually really good. We got a topic that doesn't matter to me, but I know it matters to a lot of people. So I'm visiting with an author today, Bruce Mesnekoff. I don't know if I said that right. I'll find out when I talk to him. But he's got a book and a website about student loans. So that's why it doesn't matter to me. I ain't got one of them because I ain't got no college degree thingy. But for those of you who do have student loans, he's going to give us some advice on how you can get those paid off a whole lot quicker and make it something that is not such a burden. So I know a lot of people that have student loans are going to really appreciate that. Here's an interesting idea at a library in Kentucky. If kids have a late fee, they can pay it off by reading certain books.
Oh, that's cool.
So they say, well, you got a late fee, but tell you what, if you read this book, we're going to just wipe that off.
That's actually a very good idea.
A men's health poll found 50% of men think it is possible to love more than one woman at a time.
Oh.
50% of men.
Oh.
I am disappointed with half of the men. The half that think you can do that. That's not possible. How can I say I'm going to give you all of my heart, Heidi, and I'm going to give somebody else all of my heart, too?
Yeah,
There's not enough heart to go around. And I got a big heart, just saying. Coming up, we've got some special things happening today. We'll tell you what those are in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, April the 6th. Today is Army Day. So for those of you that served in the Army, first of all, thank you for your service. And if you served in a different branch of the military, we thank you for your service, too. Today is also Charlie the Tuna Day. Remember the little tuna?
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, Charlie the
Sorry,
Tuna.
Charlie.
Yeah. Drowsy Driver Awareness Day. If you're drowsy, pull over and take a nap. Hostess Twinkie Day today.
Yum.
They're just not the same as they used to be.
They're not quite the same.
They're good. They're good. But
they're still awesome.
International Day of Sport for Development of Peace Day. I'm not sure what that is exactly. It is Child Help National Day of Hope. National Student Athlete Day. Here's one we can all celebrate. National Walking Day. We should walk somewhere today.
We should.
Just even if it's just around the building, we should go for a walk. It is New Beers Eve today.
Ooh.
It is also Paraprofessional Appreciation Day, Tartan Day, Teflon Day, and Whole Grain Sampling Day. So, wow, we got a lot of stuff to celebrate. Get out there and do it. But wherever you do, whatever you do, make sure you walk to get there. That'll help celebrate.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Are there loopholes in the anti-smoking laws? Well, some people in Minnesota think they might have found one. The Minnesota Department of Health declared that bars that hold, quote, theater nights are in violation of the state's strict anti-smoking laws. The laws ban smoking in public places, all except for theaters where actors in plays have to smoke. So some bars have been declaring theater nights, claiming that all of the customers are actors involved in an improv theatrical performance.
That's not going to work.
And their cigarettes are merely props.
No.
A state official has called this an obvious attempt to circumvent the Freedom to Breathe Act.
That's hilarious.
Now, here's the thing that is
I
interesting.
mean, I'm proud of them for, kind of going outside the box there, but that's not going to work.
I wonder, though, if this will be upheld. I wonder if they fight, if they say, you know what, we are fighting this because we're doing a public performance. How can you tell us this is not art?
No.
Seriously.
They're not going to get away with that. They
so
just
now
won't.
the government is going to define what is art and what is not? Because I've seen art. I mean, I've seen some art that doesn't look like art.
Yeah,
Remember the story like a year ago where the kid...
They will definitely define it, and
There was
they will
a kid
say
that
no.
got in trouble for urinating in a toilet in a museum because that was actually an art display. That was an art exhibit. It was literally just a toilet sitting there. That was art. I'm not sure how that's art. Shouldn't you be the one that creates something?
But if you're, first of all, he was urinating in something in the middle of a museum.
Okay, he was a kid. He didn't know better. So this
It's like finding an urn and saying, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna go right here."
No. This again happened in Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Health. They're trying to figure out that is this right or is this not?
That's actually hilarious. I
it's,
love it.
It's a very interesting idea. So there you go. I can tell you, I like going out and not coming home smelling smoky. But I also think that if you're a smoker, you should have the rights to do what you want to do. That we shouldn't infringe on that.
And
so.
I also think that as a business owner, you should get
Yeah.
to decide what happens inside your own business.
So this is the thing that I think is an interesting concept, and we'll see where it goes. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. It's easy for the police to nab you when you're sitting there waiting for them. Police had an easy time catching a man suspected of driving under the influence. He was waiting for them in his car right where he said he passed out in the driver's seat at a drive-thru at a fast food restaurant. According to police, another customer found a Houston man unconscious at the wheel about 3 a.m. Thursday. The other customer took the keys out of the ignition and called the police. They arrested the man on suspicion of driving under the influence. Police said the man passed out because of a combination of alcohol and drugs. So, yeah, and he had a hankering for something at 3 a.m. I can only imagine that didn't end well. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
I'm glad they stopped him from
Me too.
driving. That's a good thing.
That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
They were arrested, mugshotted, and forced to give DNA samples, and they were only 12 years young.
Whoa.
British police officers in a small town in England arrested, photographed, and even got DNA from 3 12-year-old kids. What terrible crime could these kids have committed, Heidi?
I have no idea.
Well,
They steal some candy or something?
and they served 2 hours in jail, too. I should add that. So what did they do? They climbed a tree.
What?
Yeah, a cherry tree. According to the police report, they were seen damaging a tree as they were climbing it. Translation, a few limbs cracked as they were climbing a tree. Somebody called the police, and the kids were cuffed and stuffed, photographed, DNA swabbed, and fingerprinted and thrown in the
That's
slammer
insane.
for
Here-
2 hours.
They just say, "Hey, you boys, get out of that tree."
Why don't you guys think about coming out of that tree whenever you get around to it?
Wow.
I climbed a lot of trees as a kid, so does that mean I'm like a felon and I didn't even know it?
That's ridiculous.
All right. Get some fun stuff for your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. The University of Vermont is offering a course on the science of marijuana. Got a feeling there'll be a lot of young students that'll be taking that course.
Probably.
That's at the University of Vermont. I don't understand why, but there you go. Police say a homeless man is sleeping inside a San Francisco area garbage bin, and he survived 2 compaction cycles after the bin was dumped into a trash truck.
Oh.
So he fell asleep in a dumpster, and it got thrown in
And
a...
it compacted him twice?
Yeah, twice. He's
Whoa.
lucky that he's still alive. Comedian Cat Williams has been arrested again, this time for fighting a teen. He was arrested at his Georgia home, charged with disorderly conduct for fighting a 17-year-old named Luke Walsh at a suburban Atlanta apartment complex. After a video of their brawl, he shot at a pickup soccer game. There we go. After that video went viral. Now, this is the 4th arrest in about a month. He's been doing community service in conjunction with a prior conviction, was playing soccer with kids when this fight occurred. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it seems like bad news follows this guy wherever he goes. So maybe you want to pray for Cat Williams. There you go. Hey, a suspected burglar who was hiding in a Florida pond to avoid arrest has been killed by an alligator. So he was hiding in a pond trying to, stay away from people, and a gator got him. That's not
unfortunate.
good. Yeah. According to a recent study, more than 8,000 devices are left at 7 of the largest airports in the United States, including Chicago O'Hare, Denver International, San Francisco International, Charlotte Douglas, Miami International, Orlando International, and Minneapolis St. Paul. Every year, we're leaving behind thousands of things like this. Laptops. How do you forget that?
Oh, wouldn't you just be sick if you got to where you were
iPads.
going and you
Yeah.
couldn't find your laptop?
iPads, telephones, and USB keys. The kind
The good
that you
news
need.
is, though, with all of those devices, most of those those devices, the laptops and the iPads and cell phones, you can track the owners and get them back to them.
Well, I don't know if they do. These are things. 8,000 per year are being left there.
Huh.
Scientists are warning that the radiation emitted from a full-body airport scanner has been seriously underestimated, and it could lead to an increase of skin cancer, they're saying. Dr. David Brenner, head of Columbia's University Center for Radiological Research, says that the dose absorbed by the skin may be up to 20 times higher than they previously thought.
Oh, my gosh.
So maybe it's a good thing we haven't gone anywhere lately.
Yeah, we haven't done any traveling.
After a bad breakup, who's the first person most people call, Heidi?
Their mother.
Regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, the one who got dumped most often calls a good female friend. 27% call a good female friend first. 17% call mama first.
Yep.
So there you go. And mama sometimes is a good female friend as well.
Yeah.
Sad news for you, Gary. I don't know who Gary is, but you're probably the last of a long line of men named Gary. The name is going extinct. It's been plummeting in popularity since the early 1950s, where Americans saw nearly 39,000 baby Garys in 1950. This compares to 2013's number of 442, the lowest since 1928. It continues to decline. Now this name ranks at number 578 in America. So if you got a kid, by all means, name him Gary. Or if it's a girl,
cares?
name her Gary.
Why do we need these statistics? Who cares?
Just saying, Garys are going away. If we're not careful, there will be no Garys for our grandchildren. A 3-person fire crew in Kingman, Arizona, went to Jeff Cullen's home when he reported a tree fire, but they found no blaze. Instead, they told the firefighters, I really just wanted you to come get my cat.
Oh,
I knew you only responded to
gosh.
fire calls. A battalion chief told Cullen to call animal control or wait for the cat to get hungry. Cullen apparently didn't like the response, so he went back into the home, got a small revolver, and came out shooting.
Oh, boy.
The firefighters and a 12-year-old boy who had come to see the fire truck ran for their lives. Nobody was injured. Cullen has been charged.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you be charged with stupidity? Because that was dumb. I cannot believe that. All right, your strange law. From Portland, Maine, shoelaces must be tied while walking on a public street. So you can't walk down the public street with your shoelaces untied.
It drives me nuts to see people walking with their
I
shoelaces
don't get
untied.
that. I don't. My shoes don't have laces, thank goodness. Otherwise, I might not be able to go to Portland, Maine, and I know that's my dream vacation. That's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. And you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you've got a student loan, you're going to definitely want to be listening. Or if maybe you've got kids or you've got a loved one that has a student loan, be listening because we're talking to the guy today that actually wrote the book on student loans, The Ultimate Guide to Student Loans, and one of the co-authors, Bruce Mesnekoff, is our guest today. Bruce, how are you?
Great, John. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Now, I have to admit, I don't have any student loan debt, so this isn't something that I'm doing personally just for me. I'm doing it because I know a lot of the people that are listening, they're up to their eyeballs in student loan debt because a lot of people have this, don't they?
Oh, John, there's 40 million plus people with student loans now, and the debt actually has exceeded $1 trillion. It's the biggest debt we have in our country other than mortgages. It even has surpassed credit card debt, believe it or not. So over $1 trillion affecting almost everybody.
And there are a lot of people that are listening that as they're making their monthly payments, this is something that they just kind of have to deal with until they can finally get it paid off. And it doesn't go away quick, does it?
No. These loans are like mortgages now, 20, 25, 30 years. And you did just say something pretty important. They have to deal with it. And that's what I like most people to understand above everything else. It's not like other debts where you can ignore it, hope it goes away, deal with collection calls until they stop calling, or you can't, even bankruptcy is an option for some people with their other debts. But student loans are exempt from bankruptcy, meaning that they will not be discharged, and they'll never stop trying to collect on you. When you go into default on a student loan, they can take your tax refund checks, they could garnish your wages at work, and many other things as well. Incredible tools at their disposal. So you cannot ignore it. You need to be proactive and take care of this debt.
And they will track you down. They will find you. So now, when is it when people graduate from college, they get a diploma and they also get handed this student loan debt? How much is the average student leaving college with right now?
The average student leaving with student loans is over $30,000 right now. Again, an incredible debt for, a student who's generally 21, 22, 23 years old coming into the world to make their first money at their first job, having a debt of 30, but many people have debts well higher, into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's affecting people's lives in a variety of ways, and it's something that really needs to be dealt with. But fortunately, there are some good options we could speak about today that can really help people out who are in trouble.
That's awesome. We'll get to that. And one of the things I do want to ask is there's a percentage of students out there that just kind of have given up. And do you have the information on that, the people that have kind of just given up and they're going, I don't even know what to do?
Yeah, the Department of Education reported the default rate was at about 10%. Default means when you were actually 9 months past due, they put you into default, which is when they hit you with a penalty of over 20% of your loan that goes right into your principal. They raise your interest rate up to over 18%. And that's when they seek out to garnish your wages, take your tax returns. They even suspend professional licenses. It's brutal. And over 10% are already in default, with millions and millions more heading down that road.
Again, our guest today is Bruce Mesnekoff, co-author of The Ultimate Guide to Student Loans. Now, you work with a company that provides assistance for students struggling with debt. Tell us about the Student Loan Help Center and some of the things you guys have available.
Sure. At the Student Loan Help Center, what we do is we take a look at people's situations and get them pointed in the right direction. For most people, the help they need is available through a government program that's fantastic. It consolidates your loans. They offer what is called income-based repayment plans. That's kind of been a buzzword around the political season. Income-based means you receive a payment that is based on what you can afford. That has nothing to do with how much money you owe. And that payment adjusts every year based on your financial situation. So it's fantastic. There's forgiveness programs, another buzzword. That's available to people who work in public service. It cuts the term of your loan in half and saves you tons of money if you work in public service. But all of these programs you need to consolidate into this government consolidation program. So what we do is take a look at your situation, make sure the program can benefit you, and help you get involved with it.
So let's talk about those forgiveness programs. Are there multiple programs, or is there mainly like one program that you can utilize to have the debt forgiven?
There's a couple different programs that offer different levels of forgiveness. By far, the most popular one is called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and it's available to people who either work for a state, local, federal government entity, such as it's very popular with teachers because the public school systems qualify. Also, it's available to people who work for private companies that are non-profit companies. And the reasoning behind this program is that people are dedicating their careers and their lives to help others and do social service, and a lot of them are making much less money than they would in the private sector, but they love what they do. They're helping people. So it's kind of a thank you that the government's doing, and it's saving people tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars that they forgive.
Now, in that program, do you need to have that job currently, or if you had a job doing that for several years, can you go back and apply those years towards that, or is it just for people that are currently working in that field?
Great question, because there's a lot of confusion out there with people. You must have that job and be full-time at that job throughout the whole term that you're paying the loan to get the forgiveness. That being said, if you are working in that position for 3 or 4 years and you take a break and get a different job but come back to a qualifying job, the term starts off where you left off. You don't lose that credit, but you need to have 10 years of full-time employment in that position with that type of company or government entity to get the program. So a lot of people, and it makes a lot of sense if you have a large debt, will go into that field and go work for those companies that qualify out of school because of the potential savings. Though they may make a little bit less money in their salary, if they could save tens of thousands or more on their student loans, it's well worth it for them.
And I like that you had mentioned teachers. That's great that, because I know a lot of teachers, they work their hearts out and they don't make a ton of money doing that. So I'm really glad to hear that they're qualified for that program.
Yeah, absolutely. But the difficult part about this is, as great as this program is, and it helps millions of people, it lowers payments by 70, 80, 90% on these income-based. They forgive huge debts. As great a job as the government did at putting this together, they've done equally as horrible a job at publicizing it and making it easy to get involved with. Most people have never even heard of the program. So, fortunately we're here. We can help people. We give a free consultation to get you pointed in the right direction. And again, millions and millions of people, this program is their way out when they think that there is not one.
Awesome. Again, our guest today is Bruce Mesnekoff. He's co-author of a book called The Ultimate Guide to Student Loans. Now, where can we find a copy of this book, sir?
Well, The Ultimate Guide to Student Loans is available on Amazon, and it is also available on the Ultimate Guide to StudentLoans.com. You could pick up a copy, and it's great because it starts at the very beginning when you plan for your child's education, saving money, how to find scholarships and grants, all the way through what we're talking about. After you have the loans, the best thing that you can do to help yourself.
And there was another website here, the Student Loan Help Center. If I have questions on how to consolidate or go through some of the programs that you were talking about, if I go to that website, can I get more information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And quickconsolidation.org is a great resource. Quickconsolidation.org. You can find more information or request more information. And John, I have a daughter, Mandy, at San Diego State University right now. So I feel the pain of everybody out there. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of debt. But I want people to know, whether you've already gone into default or you're just struggling, the programs out there can help you, give you a fresh start you over brand new. Really fantastic. Don't give up hope. Don't ignore it is my number one advice.
All right. Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate you having me on.
Glad to have you on. Again, the book is called The Ultimate Guide to Student Loans, available right now at Amazon. And the other website that he was talking about there is quickconsolidation.org. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Some herons in Japan use insects as bait rather than food. They pick up insects, they lay them on the water, luring fish to come up to the top, and then they spear them with their beak. It's kind of crazy. Those birds are nuts. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The movie Jaws was based on true events. Did you know that?
I knew it was loosely based on true events.
It
yes.
does say. It says exactly that. Although loosely, the story was based on the Jersey Shore attacks of 1916, where 4 people were killed and 1 was seriously injured. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The average popping temperature for popcorn is about 347 degrees Fahrenheit.
I love popcorn.
That is why popcorn is so darn hot when you take it out. So you got to, let it cool off. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Non-dairy creamer is flammable.
Really?
Yeah. Careful with that stuff. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Texas is the only state that allows you to fly the state flag at the same exact height as the U.S. flag. All others, the state flag has to be lower than the U.S. flag. But in Texas, they say, no, we're going to put it right up there. So there you go. A couple of fun facts for you on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this Wednesday, the 6th day of April. We appreciate you tuning in. Are you scared of a society without cash, Heidi? A paperless, coinless society?
I definitely don't want it to go that extreme. I'd still like to have the option to use cash if you want to, even though the majority of the time I use my debit card.
I've noticed, and I've stood in line at gas stations, at grocery stores, at places where people buy things. Very few people use cash these days. Almost everybody uses a debit card. And I do. That's exactly what I do. I write a check for one thing, my church tithe. That's it. Everything else, because I was looking through my checkbook, there was one check in there for pizza. We ordered pizza, and I just said I wrote a check. But I'm like, that is the only thing I use my checkbook for.
Yeah.
So other than that, I use my debit card for everything. And I never have cash. One day I opened my wallet and there was cash in there, and I was surprised. I'm like, where did this come from? Wait a minute. Is this my wallet? But a paperless, coinless society could be on the way. It's already here in one place, in a place called Pennsylvania, at least for lunch period. Fingerprint identification program now is what they use.
I don't like.
At 3 Pennsylvania school districts, allowing kids to pay for cafeteria lunches without carrying any cash. Students place their index finger on a small scanner, and a template matches them with their electronic print. So it's a way for the kids to, they put their finger there.
Yeah, I understand it. I don't like it.
Why don't you like that?
I think that's an invasion of privacy. Now they've got that data for each of those students stored. And if something ever happens, they're going to go back to those fingerprints to find out. I just think that is wrong.
What is the bad part of that? I think that's good.
I don't like it at all.
I think that's a great idea. You
would think it's a good idea. Freaking communist.
Would you
want to expand big government so that they have complete control and they have all access. Should they keep a DNA sample on file as well at the school?
Sure. I don't see a reason not to. You're calling me a communist now? Thanks, Heidi. We're married to each other, so she can call me names like that, and I'll still love her. I forgive you, baby. Coming up, we got a story about a tugboat. This is a cool story. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
A Navy tugboat that sank almost 100 years ago has been found by a team of government researchers. It was off the San Francisco coast. ABC News talks about the USS Conestoga. Took off for Pearl Harbor from San Francisco Bay in 1921. Never made it there. Her 56-man crew was declared lost. The boat was never found until recently. And there was a huge search that covered hundreds of thousands of square miles back in the day. Well, about a week ago, officials from the Navy and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced that there was a tugboat that was found about 30 miles off the coast. They're in the midst of a multi-year effort to map the roughly 300 shipwrecks that are off the waters of San Francisco. So they're going underwater, finding all kinds of shipwrecks, and they're trying to identify which each of these are. So that's really kind of cool. So this happened in 1921. Nobody had any clue whatever happened to it. Now they finally said, oh, hey, I think we might have found that. So that's kind of neat. Think about all the stuff that's on the bottom of the ocean. I mean, there's a ton of stuff down there. It would be awesome to be able to, just go down and check all that stuff out. So
I'm good on the land.
You'd rather stay here?
Yeah.
There's a hobby for me in my older days, maybe. Instead of getting a metal detector, I'll get me a little submarine. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
Is breakfast really the most important meal of the day, Heidi?
That's what I've always been told.
Well, just like a car needs gas, your body needs fuel to run properly. And breakfast, they say, is the best way to jumpstart you for the day. Breakfast gives you a great opportunity to fortify yourself with calcium, complex carbohydrates, protein, and other essential nutrients. In fact, you may even feel the need for less food overall if you regularly eat a good breakfast. But beware, a heavy fat-laden breakfast can literally weigh you down for the rest of the day and could lead to heartburn and increase cholesterol in your body. So make a few wise choices, and you can start your day the healthy way and feel great, too. So they're saying, yes, breakfast is really important.
But don't have bacon and eggs and the whole bit. Don't have
They're
all
just
of
saying,
that. And
yeah,
sausage
don't have a really
and,
heavy breakfast.
Yeah.
Like I like to have.
Yeah.
Like
That's
when I'm
not
done,
what you want for breakfast.
when I'm done cooking breakfast, we got to get a mop and clean the kitchen. I'm like, what happened in
That
here?
is true.
I
And
know.
the wall
I make
and
a
the
mess.
ceiling.
I don't know. Anyway, get out there and have some yummy breakfast. Coming up, we've got some interesting things. If you're concerned about your kid not wanting to go to college, maybe this story will help you not be so concerned about that. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
If you've got children that are getting to the age where they're, trying to make that decision on what they do after high school, we have a son that decided to not go to college, and I was a little concerned because he's a smart kid. I was like, you should go to school.
So smart.
But listen to this. Here's the story. It says, are you concerned that your children are making decisions to not go to college, and it might mean your child will be less happy with their life? Well, no need to worry. A new study shows that there's no link whatsoever between your education level and your personal happiness. This is the findings of a mental health research study published by the British Journal of Psychiatry. I almost said psychiatry, which I don't think is a thing. Anyway, the team discovered that the odds of happiness were equivalent throughout all levels of education attainment. Researchers in this study define happiness as a state of high mental well-being in which people feel good and function well. So they're saying, just because you have an education doesn't mean you're going to be any happier. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
I agree with that as well. And earlier we had a guest talking about student loans, and if you missed that, you missed out because he was talking about all kinds of cool stuff. But when we were visiting with Bruce, he was saying, I think kind of fits right in with this. If you're bogged down with student loans, you got all this debt, that's going to actually probably make you less happy, really. So he had some ideas on how to, get rid of all that. I'll throw a link on our Facebook page if you missed it, so you can get the info from him either way. But good stuff right there. Again, they're saying that there's no link whatsoever between your level of happiness and your level of education. Coming up, we've got some really good news for you. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Scientists have been struggling for decades to free diabetics from regular insulin injections. Now, your Uncle Mike was diabetic.
Yes, he was.
My father was diabetic, and I remember when my dad was still with us, he had to test his blood, and he had to do all this stuff to make sure everything was right. Researchers now have come up with just, I think, one of the coolest things I've seen in years. They created a synthetic patch that is covered in natural beta cells, which can be stuck painlessly to a patient's skin, and it will secrete insulin when it is required and safely control blood sugar levels.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, no injection or monitoring required. The patch hasn't been tested on humans as of yet, but it's already been shown safely to control the blood sugar levels of mice for at least 10 hours at a time. So what they're saying
brilliant.
is no more sticking yourself with a needle. You just put on a patch like you're trying to quit smoking.
That's wonderful.
I
love
saw
that.
on Facebook, I saw somebody that had a patch for something. It was like a fitness patch. I was like, what in the world is that? But it was a way for them to get vitamins through a patch. So maybe patches are the way to go with things. I don't know. I've never, ever worn a patch.
To get vitamins through a patch, that I would do. I don't like to take pills.
So this was I just saw this on Facebook like a week ago. A friend of mine had, and I was like, what in the world is that? And she was explaining it to the friends that were asking. So I was like, well, that's an interesting idea. I've got a link I'll throw on our Facebook page if you'd like to know more about this diabetic patch. I think it's fascinating. And if you know somebody that's diabetic, like I said, right now, not available for humans. But if you know a mouse that's diabetic, it's available for mice right now. So, or you think that's just in the lab?
It's probably just in the lab.
All right. Well, I'll throw a link on our page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Police in Daytona Beach are investigating the burglary of a home, and the home belongs to Daytona Beach's police chief. The burglary took place while the chief was away giving a lecture. Guess what the lecture was on?
Robberies?
No, ways to prevent crime. While he was giving the lecture, somebody was breaking into his home.
Irony is
That is
at its
irony.
finest.
Hey, you don't have to get up too early to fool some criminals. Police in South Africa decided to throw a party with celebrity guests, top entertainment, and prizes. All of those with invitations. As you may have guessed, all of those with invitations were about 200 of the country's most wanted crooks. 20 of them bit, and they showed up, and they got their prizes. They included mugshots.
They've done this many
and
times. One of
fingerprints.
these criminals going to quit falling for this.
Well, they got this thing. They're like, oh, wow, check it out. I got invited to this. I'm going to go.
Yeah,
So
because
you-
you're a crook. You're the proper candidate to get an invitation like that in the mail.
You never know.
Yeah.
Hey, a Minnesota man called police to report that a safe containing cash was stolen from his house. So police arrived to find a bunch of bicycle tracks leading away from the scene. The bicycle tracks eventually led to the crook's demise. You see, the officers noted that the rider stopped frequently, leaving a square imprint in the snow at each stop, an imprint the same size as the stolen safe. The trail eventually led the man back to the man's backyard, where police found the safe, and they arrested a 20-year-old. And guess what? The bicycle was also stolen. So this guy was apparently not having a good day. And let's wrap up with one final story for our bonus break here. Newlywed Faith Miller likes to snuggle up with her honey when they're cruising in their spacious 1988 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. But the Oregon couple was cited for violating the state's seatbelt law. You see, Miller was in the center of the front seat. She was wearing a lap belt, but no shoulder harness. She tells the McKinnisville News-Register that they got a $97 ticket after ignoring a deputy's prior warning. Miller says she started looking through the Oregon seatbelt laws and found the shoulder strap was not required. You just need to wear a seatbelt, which she was, so the ticket now has been voided. So there you go. She can snuggle up next to him all she wants in that
Whatever.
1988 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. These guys are riding in style, let me tell you. Do you remember those?
Oh, they were huge.
They were, and I'll tell you
Giant
what,
boats going down the street.
smooth riding boats, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were cruising in style. Bonus break brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you need a better system. Commercial mortgage bridge loans from Knowles Systems might be exactly what you're looking for. They give you a 6 to, commercial mortgage bridge loans paying 6 to 8%. There we go. And that could be what you need. If you'd like to get all the details, and I'll tell you, they are way better at this than me. They can tell you everything you need to know. If you go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com, or I'll give you a toll-free number, 888-547-8007. Tell them you heard about it on the John and Heidi Show.